Hello, you're listening to Meghan and Harry News YouTube channel. Well, I must say well done to Grazia magazine. Finally, a mainstream media platform has spoken out against the very obvious and very toxic smear campaign against Meghan and Harry. Here we see there's a new Meghan Markle smear campaign on the rise. Now, this really goes into detail about all the things I've been talking about on this channel. And it is good to see somebody else acknowledge that there is an orchestrated campaign, a very wicked orchestrated campaign, that is relentlessly making stuff up and putting a negative spin on anything and everything they can think of. The title says that there's a new Meghan Markle smear campaign on the rise, which gives the impression that there is sometimes a break in between these media campaigns, but they are relentless, non-stop. But I would say over the last few weeks they have increased a lot more, and overall it has increased and become more insane and desperate, probably since the Netflix documentary and the release of the Spare book since the start of the year. I'm going to leave a link to the article below in the comments so that you can share it around if you wish. It says here, this morning, following the news that she and Prince Harry had parted ways with Spotify, it was reported that Meghan's heavily rumoured deal with Dior is not happening, and at the same time she's being torn apart for apparently faking interviews on her Archetypes podcast. Cue the endless tirade of sensational headlines. Meghan Markle is not signing big money Dior fashion deal despite Spotify acts. One today reads, why Spotify's big bet on Meghan fell flat. Another states, grifter, Meghan may have faked her podcast interviews. A third claims. Reading them and the many similar, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Meghan is in the midst of a full-on career meltdown. And this, of course, is not true, and it shows how the media are literally creating a false reality for their readers. It is just one fabricated story on top of another, desperately attempting to turn Meghan and Harry into figures to be hated. It's not working, and they just simply look insane to anyone with a dash of common sense. The article then clears up all this nonsense. It says, so allow us to clear a few things up. First, Dior. Contrary to the headlines implying there was some kind of snub, both the Sussexes and Dior have come out to say there was never any truth to the rumours of a sponsorship deal between them. A source at Dior told The Telegraph that their team are nonplussed as to how the story came about, while a spokesperson for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle confirmed that the rumours are simply not true. There were always speculation in the first place, and yet somehow by merely confirming the speculation was misplaced, Meghan is at the centre of unnecessary headlines inferring she's been rebuffed by a brand she's known to adore. What the article doesn't mention is that the initial rumour was, I believe, created in order to bash Meghan, with later by then saying she has been rejected, because they don't have anything else to report on Meghan, and their assignment is to continually publish negative stories about her, and so they set up stories they know are not true to then create negative stories later on down the line. And then, on the subject of Meghan faking interviews, it's again another ridiculous over-exaggeration, as it states, as per very normal podcasting productions have a large team that contributes to bringing content together. That's what producers are for, they produce content. And yet when you break down the headlines saying Meghan faked interviews with guests, you'll see that they're simply referring to the fact producers on the show sometimes conducted interviews with guests and Meghan would dub her voice over questions afterwards. This is the norm in these productions. It's the norm to dub things in later on. It's all part of the producing content for podcasts and for TV. The article then goes on to question, why is this happening all the time? Why is it then that whatever the Sussexes make a business move or announce new work, the headlines are always skewed in such a negative light? And more importantly, why is it always implied that Meghan is somehow to blame, or the one who has been snubbed? The most recent batch of 3 stories have all the marks of yet another smear campaign towards the mother of 2. Well, I can tell you why. It's because they left the royal family. They are now financing themselves. This highlights how the royal family do not finance themselves and are funded by the UK workers, the UK taxpayers. This shows that one of the richest families in the world do not need to be taking money from every working member of the UK public, and that they should be financing themselves with their 80 billion estimated net worth. That is why there is a smear campaign against them to distract the public from the fact. That is why you never hear this angle with Meghan and Harry financing themselves and the royal family sponging off the public ever raised on any mainstream media platform. It's obvious who else in the world would have the power and influence to direct an international orchestrated media hate campaign against Meghan and Harry. Who else would have a motive or reason to do this? I'll let you work that one out. The article finishes with, from court cases with tabloids to Netflix documentaries about their decision to step back as senior royals and flee Britain, it is worth noting that the couple have gone to great length to demonstrate the emotional impact of this kind of relentless negativity, and the endless attempts to make Meghan seem manipulative or fraudulent. We know it fuels abuse towards the couple, we know it makes Harry fearful for his family, and we know it has had a nearly deadly impact on Meghan's mental health. How can one contribute to such discourse with their conscience intact at this point? Let us know your opinions in the comment and share this link to the Grazia article, as this is a very rare article telling you the truth of the matter.